Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome back to Planner's Knowledge. This is a double dose. So, I had a show earlier today at 1 o'clock for those who were able to join me at 1. And here we are now at 6 o'clock. And we are here with Cheryl. You just told me how to pronounce your last name, and I'm going to mess it up. So, I
I
want you
will
to
help
say
you
it.
out. It's
Thank you.
Cantafio.
Cantafio. Thank you.
Yes.
I kept putting the accent in the wrong place when I was
Everybody
guessing.
does. It's
Okay.
okay. It's
All right.
totally okay. Yes.
Cantafio. I
Yes.
love it. I love it. Well, thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Dr. Kathleen, thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here and to have this forum to be able to talk about my books is just, it's confetti is what it
Yes.
is. So I'm
Good.
really excited to do this. This
Good.
is
I
great.
love it. So,
Thank you.
for those who are joining us for the first time, welcome to Planter's Knowledge. This is where we talk to authors about their books and about their author's journey. I encourage you to get pen, paper, notepad, tablet, whatever it is that you need in order to get some notes, even if you got to tell somebody else to get them down. Get some notes because whenever we're talking with an author, there's something that they say that may inspire you to say, you know what, I can write my book or write my piece of poetry or finish the project that I'm working on. So we are super excited here to talk to Cheryl. Cheryl has 3 books she'll be telling us about. But first we're going to just get to know you, Cheryl. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
So, like we said, I'm Cheryl Cantafio. By day, I work in IT, and in my spare time, I really like to write. I come from an Italian American family. I have a lovely husband and 2 wily wiener dogs. And yeah, when I'm not writing or in work, I really love watching movies, going out with friends. I will binge watch anything on television.
Oh, all
Yes.
right. What's your latest binge watch? What have you been enjoying?
Oh, let's see. It's called The Day of the Jackal.
Oh, my husband's been watching
So
that without me.
good. Okay.
Is it good?
It's really good. You should.
Okay.
You should. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll
Yeah.
partake. All
Yes.
right. All
Yeah.
right.
It's really good. It is.
Mm,
It's like popcorn candy. You or
really?
popcorn watching. You can't get enough of it. So
Oh my
yes.
goodness. All
Yeah. It's
right.
really
We'll have to check that out. Now, what you watch, is it similar to what you write?
no. You know what? It recently, no, because
Mhm.
a lot of stuff that I've been watching has been um like Broadway stuff, which is definitely not any of these books. I
Okay.
just saw Wicked over the
Was
weekend,
that
which
fantastic or what?
let me
Oh my
tell you,
goodness.
so excited. Yes,
Come
and
on.
loved every minute of it. I did not know I saw the Broadway play twice,
Oh wow.
and I thought, I don't know if they're gonna be able to and then
Yeah.
these 2 amazing women
Oh,
got up and sung their hearts out,
oh,
and you thought, "Oh, I'm in.
right.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes. Yes."
Yes. I'm
So,
so glad that you said I have been wanting to see it on Broadway since its origin,
it
and I
it
never
is so
got to
worth
see
it.
it.
It is so
Really?
worth it. It's so
I
worth it.
believe
So,
you.
if you're ever looking for a day trip, I know it's still
Yes.
playing in New
Yes.
York, so it's worth it for sure.
Okay.
Yeah,
All
loved
right.
it.
I'm gonna have to go, but I'm glad
Yes.
to know that because I did. I was so moved by the movie, and I was
Mhm.
surprisingly moved by the movie.
Yes.
And I was just like, "Oh man, I can't even imagine if this were live."
Live? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Now
Okay.
live, keep in mind it's much more compressed, because
True.
this was, what, 2 hours and 45 minutes,
Yes.
and it's part 1,
Yes.
which
Yes.
I did not know about
Yes.
until somebody told me about it. I was like, "Oh, okay." And I thought, "How are you gonna end this in a way that makes sense?" And they really nailed it, so I
Hmm.
loved it, loved it, loved it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get back to you. So you've been
Yes.
doing more Broadway watching and things like that.
Yes.
But here you are an author, you have a children's book, you
Mhm.
also have poetry. What else?
Yes. So right now it's, the first book that I wrote was pure poetry. The second book I wrote is more book and verse. So
Mhm.
each poem tells part of a larger tale.
Okay.
So it could be considered fiction or it could be considered poetry. It's kind
Mhm.
of both. And
Mhm.
then Barry's just a children's book. So Barry and the
Mhm.
Big Jump is just a children's book, and he's got a very he's an inspirational little guy. So I'm excited to bring him to the world of the 4 to 8 year olds.
Well, I am excited. We're going to learn all about him because Barry has just made his debut to the
Yes, November
world.
12th. He sure
Real
did.
fresh. He's not even 3, 4 weeks old yet.
No, no, I'm
Oh,
really excited for him. And I hope to continue to move his story forward into 2025 because
oh,
he deserves some sunshine. So
okay. Well,
yeah.
let's build up to it and let's find out, when did you decide that you wanted to be an author? I mean, go back to even when you were little. Let's go with even your first memory of just even writing.
So I would say my first memory of writing was really in it was really in grade school, and I, we had to do like book reports and things like that.
Mhm.
We had to write about different things, and I got really creative. So like I would draw pictures associated with the book report. Um, it was always there, like in the
Mhm.
background.
Mhm.
I wouldn't say that I really became a writer though until later in life.
Okay.
Um, I was always an avid reader. And maybe that's where I thought, well, it would be lovely to be able to write something like this or
Mhm.
something like that.
Mhm.
And I guess it was around 2018 or 2019, I discovered, I don't even know how I found this, but there's something called nycmidnight.com. And they offer different short story contests and screenwriting contests and microfiction writing contests. And I thought, okay, that's digestible. I could try. So
Yeah.
yeah, so I entered, and you pay a certain amount of money, and some of that money goes to charity, which I also found appealing.
Okay.
And they randomly assign, once you pay and you get registered, they will assign you either an object or an action and a genre. And then you have maybe 48 hours to write a
Really?
yes, or 24 hours to write a story, or a week to write a story if it's over like 1,500 or 2,000 words. So,
Huh.
yeah, it's very cool. And I got involved there, and I thought, well, this is fun. I'm really enjoying myself. It's a release from work and all that other stuff. And then
Yeah.
the pandemic hit, and then I really started to invest in that because I thought
Mhm.
I will lose it if I have to stay in the house and
Yeah.
not do something creative. So that's kind of where I continued along the way.
Okay. I
Yeah.
love it. Wow, I haven't heard of that yet, so I'm
Mhm.
definitely look forward to checking that out. What an
Yeah, there
interesting
it's been
concept.
a big source of inspiration, and also it's what's lovely is they have different rounds. So if you make it past a certain round, they have judges that will tell you what they thought went well and what could have been improved in your writing. So it's
Oh.
really an overall learning experience. And then if you make it to the final, which I never have, and I
Uh-huh.
applaud the people that have because they
Mhm.
are amazing. You get cash prizes and stuff like that. So, but I was never really in it.
Wow. For
I
that.
just wanted
Uh-huh.
to write and try different things. So I've
Yeah.
had everything assigned to me from fairy tale, which is where Barry and the Big Jump came from, horror, which is where A Place No Flowers Grow came from. I
Uh-huh.
also had comedy, and I had stuff like that. But we're working on the comedy. The comedy is, that's an acquired taste, I
It's
think.
growing.
It
Okay.
is, for sure, for
Oh,
sure.
I love it. All right. So here, this is really within the last 5 to 7 years
Yes.
that you have grown into this author space. And what was that like for you to say, I'm going to do this? Like, this is real. I'm going to make this a part of my life.
Sure. I think so. My mom passed away in April of 2022 due to pancreatic cancer.
Hmm.
And it was, as you can imagine, like anybody who loses a parent, it is difficult. Grief
Hmm.
just takes hold, won't let go. And even in the most mundane scenarios, it just pops up. Like
Hmm.
she is your frenemy sometimes. Um,
Hmm.
and I really missed her, and I didn't really know how to express it. And then
Yes.
one day I came across something else that was like, hey, write 15 poems and you could get published. I don't know anything about poetry. Like, I know nothing about poetry. So
Mhm.
I looked stuff up and I thought, well, what, and I know people have like free form. They have,
Yep.
Shakespeare has sonnets.
Yes.
Maya Angelou wrote from the heart, all of these different
Mhm.
things, right? And all these different people. And I thought, I'll give it a go. I was like, oh, haikus. I
Mhm.
can do that. 575. I remember that from high school.
Right.
Good to go. And I wound up writing 15. And it just kind of came out. And I had
Yeah.
shared those, like in a very vulnerable spot. I had shared those with a couple of friends. And
Mhm.
they said, you should do something with this. We think people will benefit from this. I think
Mhm.
this could help people. And I said, okay.
Mhm.
So then I set myself a challenge of, well, if I've done 15, I can write 100 because delusional. It's fine.
I
So
mean, that's a big challenge.
it is a big jump. And I did it. And I thought, oh, all right, well, I have all these poems and they're all related to different emotions that come with grief and loss
Grief.
journey. What do
Mhm.
I do with it? And someone said,
Mhm.
why don't you publish? And I thought, I don't know how to publish. And my cousin Jim
Mhm.
publishes. He has a middle school series that he's
Okay.
just completed, by the way. So I reached
Okay.
out to him and I was like, how did you do this? And then he introduced me to Amazon KDP. Um, I think it's easy for some people. To me, it felt like calculus. And I was like,
Yeah.
I'm not doing this. So then I read up on something called Ingram Spark.
Yes.
Ingram Spark, it felt easier to me. So I thought, okay,
Interesting.
maybe I can try this way. Also, it distributes globally. Okay, so I
Mhm.
don't have to buy an ISBN for each and every single
Yes.
book in every single spot, you know?
Yes. Yes.
You do have to buy an ISBN for each media type, but
Yes.
not for every single location that you want to
Right.
put it into. Okay, so then I reached out to I knew I wanted to do something that had just a little bit of kick and illustration to it because
Mhm.
I really love the works of Shel Silverstein. And I
Oh,
thought, okay, yeah,
my
listen,
absolute favorite.
I love him. He's great. I mean, he brings a whimsy to it, but there's also so much heart to it. So
Yes.
I reached out to a former art teacher. Um,
Mhm.
I asked if she could do it, and she laughed because she's running a full department of
Okay.
her own and doing all sorts of amazing things. She's another wonderful person. Her name is Michelle Vitale, and she
Mhm.
said, "Well, tell you what, why don't we create like a pseudo internship out of this, and I'll introduce you to one of my students, and her name is Olivia Sutton,
Okay.
and I think she's going to light the art world on fire because she
Wow.
was amazing to work with. Um,
Wonderful.
she came up with all the different illustrations because once I started to organize the poems, um, this concept came to mind. Number one, like it was like, what are you going to name this? And I thought, I don't know. Like the title is
Mhm.
always I don't know about you, but I always feel like the title is the hardest.
Mhm.
It's
Mhm.
the hardest part. And I finally came up with My Stay with the Sisters. And I thought, okay, like this has to do with, and the sisters were always going to be grief and gratitude. So
Mhm.
that's the main part. And I was very inspired by, and I realize I'm going all over the place. So just bear
You are good.
um, I was very I always think about Practical Magic, the movie,
Uh-huh.
where the two aunts invite the daughters back after they've experienced loss,
Yes.
and how they kind of helped, like, their house was magic, they did all these
Mhm.
magical things, and I thought, wouldn't that be lovely if when you're grieving, you could go away to a home and
Yes.
get it all out?
Yes.
So in my book, there are various rooms within the book, and each room has different poems in there. So,
Oh.
for example, there's the rage room for obvious reasons
Mhm.
because
Mhm.
grief also comes with a lot of anger
Sure
and
does.
question of why.
Yes.
Um, there's the kitchen where there's a lot of nostalgia.
Mm.
There's the bedroom where sometimes you just need a nap.
Yes.
Yes, and sometimes you just need to let things happen. There's also the entertainment room where you think about things that just tickled you pink.
Mhm.
And then at the end of it, there's a goodie bag. And in that goodie bag, I write about, and you can kind of see it on the back of this.
Yeah, please hold it up.
So you kind of see, oh, sorry, you actually
Yeah.
see it in front of it. So if you, nope. pointing to the wrong thing. I'm not ready for this video thing yet.
That's-
This is a key. So it's a key. And
yeah.
what it does is I welcome back people with the goodie bag and say, grief and gratitude will welcome you back anytime, because grief
Mm,
it's not finite.
mhm.
It will hit you at random times that you're not expecting. All of those poems kind of tie into, I say it's a grief and loss journey, but it's really like a grief and loss continuum.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and um, and I just thought the grief and gratitude kind of go together, because you
Yeah.
grieve, but then there's also those moments where you say, I'm so grateful I had the time that I had.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and this is not all sunshine and roses here. There's
Mhm.
definitely, there's a pretty angry
Yeah.
when I wrote a lot of it. But there was also those moments where I remembered these small moments with my mom,
Yeah.
and, and just, I hope she's thinking of all of us, because we're certainly thinking of her.
Mhm. How cathartic was this for you?
Very, very. It felt, I will tell you, like there was a moment where I thought, okay, I wrote it. Okay, all the artwork's done. They just did the cover. I don't know if I can release this or not.
That was my next question.
Mhm. I had that moment of panic where this actually sat, I think, for, I want to say, a month and a half, 2 months, because I couldn't bring myself to pull the trigger.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and when I finally did, like, I had I did, again, not knowing what I
Mhm.
was doing. I
Mhm.
joined a women's writers, publishers, and editors group on Facebook, because,
Mm.
again, not knowing what I'm doing,
Yeah.
I posed the question, does anybody do poetry edits? And this lovely woman by the name of Shelby Lee said, I
Mhm.
happen to audit poetry. I edit poetry. I can help you. And she really helped me package this in a way that read well, that made sense,
Mhm.
had some things that I considered. So the universe was definitely, I felt like, was cheering this thing on
Supportive.
to
Yeah.
fruition. Um, I know that the illustrator was, she was excited. She's like, I can't wait to share this. And there's the whole social media aspect of this, which
Mhm.
um, can be awesome and also intimidating. Like,
Yeah.
that's also a very creative area,
Yes,
but
it
it's
is.
also like, okay, but who does this go to? And then I thought, okay, well, this is my own little weird, like, world in here. Is
Mhm.
anybody really going to relate to this? And
Mhm.
um, I was very pleasantly surprised and
Yeah.
also very humbled by it. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
So now tell me this. So in this first book, and hold it back up for
Yep.
us as well. And this one is My Stay with the Sisters. And
Yes,
where is this available?
it is available. Okay, so it's available online. So it is available on Amazon and Barnes and Noble and bookshop.org. And you could probably search for it on local bookstore um, websites, and they could probably order it for you.
Fantastic.
It comes in both, so it comes in paperback, and it also comes in ebook format. So
Oh, fantastic.
if you're trying to cut down on paper for yourselves, it is also
Mhm.
available in ebook format.
And what are your price points for both?
Oh, this is 14.95,
Okay.
and I wanna say that shoot, I don't even know.
It's
Yeah,
all right.
I think it's 8.99.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I
Well,
think
I've put your website in the chat.
okay, thank
So people, you can go there,
you.
and I will grab the link for Amazon and put that in the chat in a few
Okay,
moments as well. So
thank
now
you.
how did you come up with your book cover?
So I worked with the illustrator, because she also did my book cover too.
Okay.
So it was, um, we had gone through a couple of iterations, because I thought, I don't know exactly what should go on it. And then we both kind of landed on keychain, and she drew
Mhm.
the keychain, and she added all of, like, not all of them, but hints as to what the different section dividers in the book look like.
Mhm.
So, like, there's, I'm pretty sure this is grief's shoe, and
Okay.
gratitude is kind of a gardener, and they both love a good cup of tea.
Yeah.
If you're in the rage room, you break the banjo, and this is supposedly the address of Grief and Gratitude's home. 10002 is my mom's birthday.
Oh, all right. Well, I'm going to tell you all right now that Amazon is having a sale on her book.
Okay.
So, you know how
Great.
Amazon occasionally,
They sure do.
I encourage you highly to click that link and go buy her paperback book, which is currently on sale at $5.15.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
Okay,
wow,
good
is
for
right.
Hey, run and get it because that is a
Run.
really great price.
Yeah,
That
so
really is. That's
yes,
lovely. Awesome.
you heard 14.95. So y'all are
Mhm.
really getting it
Yes.
right now. The Kindle
Yes.
version they currently have at $7.95.
Okay.
So we don't know how long this special is
No,
going
you
to be
never
up.
know. It's a
Get it for
surprise.
yourself. Get it
Yes.
for some friends. Buy a
Mhm.
couple. You can buy 3 of them for the price of one. And
Seriously.
I'm
Yes.
right. So
Yes. Yes.
please, please,
Yes.
please, and share it with others because,
Mhm.
to your point, this idea of grief and gratitude
Mhm.
and loss is real. We
Yes.
all will go through it as long as we're here on this earth plane and
Mhm.
experience it somehow. And I love the spaces, the rooms that you were created, and it is so, I feel as though it is so true. Each of those rooms represents something different within the hearth, and we resonate with it.
Mhm.
So I'm excited for you. So y'all go out, get these books. I'm telling you, I just put a link in the chat room. You can go get it. $5.15 for the paperback, $7.99 for the Kindle. You can buy a whole bunch of them.
Yes.
Stocking stuffers. So,
Stocking stuffers, yes.
okay.
And especially, I kind of feel like for whatever reason, the holidays also bring out
Yep.
significant losses, and sometimes there are times where people just don't want to cry, and that's okay, but
Yeah.
there are people that feel lonely in their loss, and I feel
Yeah.
like this is something that builds connection.
Yes. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Definitely. All right. And now there's illustrations in the book as well that go with each of the poems.
Not with each one, but each section.
With each
So let me
section.
just
Okay.
hold up, um, so, like, for example, hopefully you can
Oh yeah. There you go.
so each
Oh.
section, so that's like the entertainment room,
Mm-hmm.
and I asked the author to really emulate Silverstein, and
Uh,
she did a beautiful job.
I was
Um,
gonna say it put me in the mind of Lights in the Attic when I
yeah,
saw, yes.
and so this is the rage room, so you can see, like, things kinda
Mm-hmm.
crashing, and you could smash anything that's there, so
Yeah.
and you can see
Yeah.
the banjo and stuff like that. So, yeah, she really did. It is such a lovely, um, I I was so happy that this was in her hands, and I will be forever grateful to her. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
fantastic.
yes.
Dr. Avis McGee said going to get it for a friend who recently lost her mom.
Oh, thank you, Avis. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you.
Oh goodness. Okay, Linda said, "Hey, Lydia." She
Hey,
said,
Lydia. Hi. Hi, Lydia. So
"Definitely a great gift to anyone you know going through the stages of grief."
yeah,
Definitely. I love it. I'm putting mine in my cart right now, so I'll be getting mine
thank you.
momentarily. You're welcome.
Thank you.
So, yes. All
Mm,
right. So there's that one. And
mm.
then what came next?
So I don't know what I dropped there.
What-
This came next. This one is called A Place No Flowers Grow. And this one is based on a NYC Midnight story that I had written.
Okay.
And my husband is very supportive, but it's also he sees this as, he's like, "Oh, that's nice." Like, I would read him something. He's like, "That's nice, that's cute." This one, for whatever reason, he sat up at intention. He was like, "Read me more um,
Oh,
about the short story."
okay.
And the short story, so what I was given was horror. The location was a glacier, and the object was toxic waste. Right.
Okay.
What do you do with that exactly? So I started to do a whole research about, do people get married on glaciers? I don't know.
Oh.
They do, apparently. It's quite a pretty penny, but they do.
Uh-huh.
And I focused on one location called Mendenhall.
Mhm.
So I crafted something, and that was the name of the original short story, was Mendenhall. So
Mhm.
I created something that, like, went back and forth in time frames and things like that. And it was really about consequences, like cause and effect. So what happens if you poison nature? And, like, this
Mhm.
is like the horror version of, you
Mhm.
know, mess around and find out,
Yes,
basically.
yes.
Um, and he was like, you should write a full book on this. You should write the full book on this. And I said, okay.
Wow.
I tried
Mm,
to do like a full novel. It just wasn't coming together.
okay.
And then I had read a book by Holly Lynn Walrath called Numinous Stones.
Hmm.
And her use of something called the pantoum
Mm-hmm.
poetry format
Mm-hmm.
felt like an incantation. And I
Mm.
thought, oh, I think I found the missing key. And then
Mm-hmm.
this book, it has no toxic waste in it. I'm sorry to disappoint people, but this book came together really quickly after that.
Look at that.
Yes. So I had written it in story format, but each part of the story is a different poem.
Okay.
And very much in the format of pantoum and something called cinquain. I hope I'm saying that right. So
Mm-hmm.
it's a mix of those kind of break it up, but it tells the story of three characters. There's Octavia, who is recently graduated. She's excited for the world. She's going to become a doctor in the agroscience space. She meets Roen, who is he's looking for a fresh start. His grandfather passed away. He decided, I'm going to go and travel. He winds up in Alaska where she is. And he's also an innovator, or he feels himself to be an innovator and an inventor. And he decides to conduct questionable experiments on an Arctic fox who views herself as a queen, is not happy she has been
Oh.
captured. And all of that kind of culminates into a whole um, period of revenge
Mm-mm.
about what happens when somebody loses their freedom, and
Mm.
what happens when you mess with nature,
Mm-hmm.
and the outcome, of course, in a very horror-based way.
Yes.
So, and there's also elements of grief and loss in this. So
Interesting.
all of it kind of comes together. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yes.
what was this like for you as you were now experiencing this new style and type of writing, and you're reading it and you're going like, I'm doing this.
Yeah. This one was a lot of fun. This one was a lot
Mhm.
of fun to do. And I thought, yeah, I'm going to do it.
Uh-oh, we got a little frozen piece here. I'm not sure if it's on my
Oh,
side or
no. Here we go.
okay, you
Are we there?
back?
Am I
Yep,
there?
yes, yes, you're back. You're
Awesome.
back.
Okay. All right. Sometimes my friendly neighborhood cable company likes to
Yes.
short me out. So
All
I
right.
won't
So
mention who because I don't
yeah,
want to get sued.
yes.
Okay. Right. So yeah, and it all kind of came together, and I sent it to my favorite poetry editor, Shelby Lee,
Yes.
and she sent it back and she was like, this was fun. And I thought, okay, all right. And she told me in her reply, she goes, I actually went back and read it a second time because
Wow.
I enjoyed it. And she gave me great notes, things like that. Now,
Mhm.
the title for this, again, like anything else, was difficult.
Okay.
Um, I was very frustrated by the title because the original title for this was Crimson Vows, and I thought this reads like Harlequin romances, and
Mm.
with all the respect in the world for the Regency romances and the
Yes.
Harlequin romances, that's not what this book was.
Yes.
Um, so I struggled, and I finally threw it to her, and I was like, "Can you help me with the title?" And
Mm.
she came back with 3 or 4, and the one that stuck was "A Place No Flowers Grow." And I
Okay.
thought it's eerie, it's ominous, and it
Yeah.
sets the right tone. So,
Okay.
yeah, I was really excited by this one.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's such a
Mhm.
good one. And how many pages is this one?
This
Or
is
how
a
many words? How was it?
oh, let me do it this way. It's, with everything in it, it's 104 pages.
Okay.
It's a quick read, but it's a fun read. And
Mhm.
I so a couple things with this. Like, if you're an Edgar Allan Poe fan, you'll
Yes,
dig
I
this.
am.
Okay?
Okay.
So you'll dig this. If you're somebody that's trying to get into poetry, but you're not, you know, you don't want to read Shakespeare. You don't want to read things that are, you know, heavy. This is a
Mhm.
good one to get into.
Okay.
I would recommend this for book clubs because, again, it's a quick read.
Mhm.
It is, and I think there's a lot to discuss in it. So,
Okay. I
yeah,
love it. Well, I put the link for that book in the chat as
thank you.
well.
Thank you.
Everyone, Lydia says a place no flowers grow is not like any book I've ever read, and I loved it. I too reread it immediately after finishing.
Thank you, Lydia. That's awesome.
And I know she's read some books.
She
So
has. She's voracious. My goodness, she
yes,
reads the books quick. Yes, she
yes.
does. I will also say too, and for local folks that are listening to this, so southeastern Pennsylvania folks, I am also going to be at Barnes and Noble in Montgomeryville this
Oh,
Saturday. And
really?
yes, and it will have A Place No Flowers Grow. It will have My Stay with the Sisters. So if you want to come visit me at around 2 o'clock on Saturday at the Montgomeryville Barnes and Noble, I'll be there as well. And I'll be happy to
Fantastic.
sign it.
So
Yeah.
you'll be there from 2 until when?
Probably 4, I would say so,
Okay,
like,
so
it's
about
gonna be
2
a
to
short
4.
window of time, yeah, a
Okay.
couple of hours, yeah,
Okay. All
and
right,
again,
y'all.
great look, great stocking stuffers,
Mhm.
great Hanukkah gifts because I
Yes.
know that, that can come into play as well. It's good stuff.
Yes. I
Yes.
saw that Christmas and Hanukkah fall on the same day this year, I believe.
Isn't that wild?
I
Yeah, I think
know.
that's
I
the first
can't
time I've
believe it.
ever seen that. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
said, we're going to have a good holiday season. So
Mhm.
Christmas,
Mhm.
Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, we're all right up there
Yes.
together. So this is the perfect gifts, encouraging people to
Mhm.
read, providing different genres from one author. We have so far.
Yes.
Come on, come on. I love it. Look, look. I know my regulars are like, well, where is it? Yes, I'm gonna take a tambourine for her.
Oh, look
Yes.
at that.
Look,
Oh, I want one. Oh my goodness,
look,
that's exciting,
yes,
okay.
it is. Wait, look, and this one has lights. Yes,
Oh,
I
okay.
know.
Well,
I
I'm gonna need
know.
the
Look
link
at
to
that.
that because that is
Wait,
awesome.
look.
That's very sparkly. That's very cool. Oh my
So
goodness.
yes, yes.
Awesome.
So Lydia said, awesome. Good for you, Cheryl. And she
Thank
says,
you.
sign books. Yes, they do. I was going to say the same thing,
Yes,
Lydia.
they do.
Sign books make
Yes.
great gifts.
Yes.
So yes, definitely have a sign.
Mhm.
It just elevates. It's like, oh, you really thought about me when that person sees their name
Mhm.
in that book. And then,
Yes.
so good. So hopefully people will come out and see
Mhm.
you and join you.
Yes.
And then we have this wonderful book that
Yes.
is fresh. It's still warm. It's
It's
so
so
fresh.
warm. Look at how cute that is. Yeah, so that's Barry. That's Barry.
Let's learn about Barry. Who is Barry and how did Barry come to pass?
Barry was another, NYC Midnight, prompted inspiration. It was a fairy tale, and I think the action word was jumping.
Oh,
And
okay.
I thought, well, okay, let me get this figured out. So I had it's completely different than this book, but I had Barry was always there and it was his family and all this stuff, but I love Barry. I think
Hmm.
he's a happy little dude.
Oh, yes.
So that's Barry, and let me see if I can do Nope. Did that come?
Uh-oh, no,
Oh, no.
you've
You know what?
completely disappeared.
Do you wanna know why? It's because there's a lot of green in this book, so I'm thinking with
Aha.
my
Yep,
background, it
yep.
disappeared, but, anyway, there's Barry.
There's
Um,
Barry. Hey
Barry.
there.
And the premise behind Barry is that he's a jumping spider, and he's the youngest among his, many, many siblings, and
Mhm.
he's a pretty chill guy, who cheers on his siblings, Mary, Gary, and Harry, who are all award-winning big jumpers. Well, they have this big jump event that's coming up, and they need a 4th, and they ask him, and he gets really excited, and then he gets really scared because
Mhm.
while he can jump, he's not sure if he can jump big. So you
Mhm.
can find out what happens to him in this book. And I think
Mhm.
this is great for bedtime stories and big dreams and all of those things that come with um, a, a story where somebody's doing something new and maybe a little bit scary for them.
Mhm.
And they put in the time, they learn, maybe they lose a little hope, and then they need
Yeah.
they need something that will kind of help them push them through to this.
Mhm.
There's a little bit of a plot twist at the end that I'm not going
Uh-oh.
to share, but it is this was a fun one.
Yeah.
Had a good time with this one, and the illustrator
I was about
is
to
somebody
ask you.
different, but
Okay.
she had graduated from art school. Her name is Nicole Elwood, and she really got Barry. She really
Mhm.
got Barry. Um,
Mhm.
we had worked with him, and he's a little guy that isn't perfect, so he's got big glasses. Jumping spiders are known for their incredible sight, and he's got glasses.
How
um,
cute.
he's not the best jumper. He can get around, but he's better off like dancing and
Mhm.
dancing and climbing things and doing that kind of stuff. Like jumping really isn't his thing. Like he's not really an athlete. And
Mm-hmm.
then his sister just says, please, please, please join us. And he's like, okay. And he thought, oh, what did I do? And we've all been in that moment, right? We get caught up in, feeling very excited that somebody would include us in
Yeah,
something. We go, can we do that? I don't
that's
know if
right.
I can do that. And I'm going to freak out now, but I'm going to try. Uh,
Yes,
and that's Barry's story.
I love it. I love it. So, all right. So, a couple things. One, did you know what Barry looked like in your mind?
A little, but not
Mhm.
much. I mean, Nicole really kind of brought him to life.
Mhm.
She gave him his kind of whimsical look. Um,
Mhm.
she's also really talented at scientific drawing, so this really kind of came in handy
Oh,
with this.
okay.
She is she mostly stays in the illustration spaces in terms of whimsy and things like that. I know that she's got, and forgive me for not knowing, but she has, I know that she's designed stickers for Etsy, and they're like cute little frog guys,
Mhm.
all very charming. And I just knew Barry was in the right hands when she showed me the first character sketch for Barry, and he had glasses, and I thought, yep, that's exactly who.
That's him.
That's Barry. Hello, nice to meet
Yes.
you, Barry.
Yes.
It was very cool. It's very,
Yes.
very
It is so fascinating to me when you have characters, right, that you only know in the written form,
yeah,
and then that illustrator brings them to life,
yes,
and you see them, and you know that's them,
right.
even
It's
though you
amazing.
had no image in your mind of them
Not at all. Not at all. I
until
mean,
you
I knew
see
he
it.
was a spider, and I knew he jumped, and that was fine.
Yes.
Um, but what she did was she just elevated Barry to the
Yeah.
next level, and I love what she did with siblings.
Yes.
We've got some fun things in there, like one of the drawings is, he's got a cracked, like, smartphone, and he's typing, like, how to jump, like, those
Uh-huh.
kind of thing. There's all these, like, little charming things that
Yes.
she's brought to it that I'm really excited for people to see.
Nice.
And it's a nice marriage between my words and my story, along
Mhm.
with what she imagined Barry's world to be.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm going to say again, people, look, you have three different styles of writing. You
Mhm.
have a variety to offer people for gifts,
Mhm. Yes.
from children's books to
Mhm.
those who are very much in touch with their inner child. But yours, it really is ageless. That whole idea of the nerves and the big jump and whatever that big jump is for you, I think that's one of those ones that can go on anybody's shelf.
I agree, and I couldn't have said it better. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome.
Yes.
Feel free to use that sound bite. You got it.
Yes.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. So, how did you decide? You have three different books.
Mhm.
I heard you talk about KDP. You talked about Ingram Spark. A lot of people may not be familiar with Ingram, but
Yes.
you found Ingram to be more
I
user friendly for you.
For me, yes. I know that a lot of people, they use KDP and it's a snap for them. I felt like I read it, I didn't get it. I tried
Hmm.
reading it again. I was like, "No, none of this makes sense to me."
Hmm.
And, I was also fortunate enough where there are a lot of people, so I had, somebody format this book for me,
Okay.
because I formatted this one,
Hmm.
and nope. I formatted this one, and I'm happy with the way it turned out, but
Good.
also I'm not a formatter, and I learned that. So the person who created the cover art for this, which
Yeah.
is stunning,
Yeah.
um, they also formatted the book, and it
Good.
was wonderful. Like, they
Hmm.
put everything I thought that should be in it. Like, it was formatted nicely. Like, he did such a lovely job, and his name is
Good.
Islam Farid. He does a lot of poetry book covers for people, and he was recommended to me by two poets who I met through a poetry community. So,
Okay.
yeah,
All
yeah,
right.
yes,
Now, so did you do Ingram Spark for all three of your books?
I did. I did.
Okay.
Yeah.
And why did you choose to do self-publishing as opposed to traditional publishing?
Um, There's a couple reasons. Number one, I didn't have the confidence enough to go look for a traditional publisher.
Mm-hmm.
And number two, I know that traditional publishing takes a long time,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't have the patience or the attention span for that. So I just thought, well, I'll just get this ready. I'll get it
Mm-hmm.
ready. Um, I can work within
Yes.
my time frame. I'll set a goal for myself or when I want things to be released, and then I can
Mm-hmm.
work towards that goal.
Yes.
And also give myself enough time for marketing and social media and all the things, and you know, putting the footwork into local bookstores. I know we've mentioned Amazon and Barnes and Noble a lot in this call, but
Mm-hmm.
I really hope that people go out to local bookstores
Mm-hmm.
and continue to purchase and support, because they are really the bedrock of our communities, and they offer so much.
They
Uh,
do.
yes, and I've been very fortunate this year, that I got to work with a couple of local bookstores.
Mm-hmm.
Bookish and King of Prussia
Mm-hmm.
was kind enough to put up. They have this book in King of Prussia. Um, this book is also in booked in Chestnut Hill.
Okay.
Yeah, so they're great bookstores in the area of southeastern
Mm-hmm.
Pennsylvania. There's also a local artisan store by the name of the Artist's Loft in Conshohocken,
Yes.
and the owner Maddie there has been an amazing cheerleader for all the local artists and local authors. So last year he put a call out and said, "Hey, local authors, do you have books?" And we were fortunate enough to kind of go there, meet, and he's like, I'll take it. We'll work on consignment. It'll be great."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so he has My Stay with the Sisters, and he has A Place No Flowers Grow. I owe him Barry, so Barry will be coming soon. Um,
Okay.
I'll drop off a couple books there. There's also the Town Book Center in Collegeville, who was
Mm-hmm.
also kind enough to take A Place No Flowers Grow, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
grateful for that. I did an event. Um, when was it? October 7th with Barnes and Noble in Devon, or Valley Forge.
Yeah.
It's kind of interchangeable. And they have a local artist or a local author section
Oh
in their
wow.
store. So and my book is there along with a couple of others. So
Yay, you.
yes, it's awesome. So yeah,
That's
this was
fantastic.
a year of me just putting it all out there. I know last year I went to one bookstore and they declined it, and I went, "Okay, bye." And then that was it. I didn't do it. I was like, "Nah, I don't want to do this." Um, and then I found out about something in Chester Springs where they did a book fair, and I went there, and I had May Stay with the Sisters, and I thought, I don't know, this is going to be really interesting to see.
Mm-hmm.
And people bought it, and I was really happy. And it poured rain that day, which was amazing. And
Wow.
I kept that positive experience with me because I thought, okay, well, maybe this is something. And
Yes.
then you've seen Lydia pop up a couple times. I met her through another thing, I think that was hosted in Conshohocken, Pennsylvania,
Mm-hmm.
where we kind of went, and we met, and she said, "Oh, we have this book authors of Southeastern Pennsylvania. You should join." And
Mm-hmm.
I said, "Okie doke." And I went to one of her meetings, and I was hooked, and it's an amazing community, and we're all,
Mm-hmm.
we see each other now. So we're like, "Hey, hi, how's it
Yeah.
going?" There's
Yeah.
a bunch of us that kind of like go around, and we've been to different events, and there's also the Norristown and Norriton Authors Alliance that also has been a wonderful support
Mm-hmm.
community for
Mm-hmm.
writers. And I, as of Saturday, I will have completed 10 local author events / book events. I am tired. I am exhausted. This was a big year. And it was exhilarating, and I learned so much, and I learned so much
Mm-hmm.
from the authors that were there. I
Yeah.
attended my very first ever horror con, that a
Did
friend,
you?
yes, because they were like, "Oh, she wrote a horror poetry book." And they were like, "Tell us more." And they gave me a spot. And I was
Oh,
like, "Okay, I'm in." And I sat there, and this was definitely a moment where I thought, I am out of my mind. What am I doing here? Like, there are people here that are like building movies and creating horror themed paraphernalia. Like, somebody created um, an anatomically correct heart out of soap. This thing was
oh.
amazing. There were people that did like taxidermy. There were people that did like Hollywood or nope, uh haunted movie theme or horror movie themed like souvenirs and stuff like that.
Wow.
Like amazing. And then I'm like, hi, I've got my poetry book.
Right.
How are you? I thought, oh my heavens, what am I doing here? I had a lovely time, and I said to I took my friend Julie, and I just want to say a shout out to my friend Julie and my friend Tammy, who for the local author events, they're like, we'll be there. What do you need? What do you need? So they've
Okay.
been there through many of them, and I'm so grateful to them. And Julie just said, even if you sell one, because I looked at her and I was like, we have got to be out of our minds to be here. This is going to be really interesting. And the response was just really heartwarming. And I've said that if you sell above one book at any of these events, everything else is confetti.
Right.
So everything else is just like, woo, this is great.
Yes.
And, it was a really good time. And people not only bought A Place No Flowers Grow, but they also bought My Stay with the Sisters,
Look
which
at
I
that.
thought was amazing. So yeah, it was a good time.
I love it. I mean, and you've already moved into the next part, which I was going to talk to you about, is really that marketing piece. Because, yeah, as an independent author, and I know this is also true for just authors, period.
In general,
Yes.
yes. I have a newfound respect for authors who have to get out there and hustle.
Mm-hmm.
I am 100% an introvert.
Mm.
So it was a lot. Like I would go and do the events and do the jazz hands, be like, this is awesome. And then I would take I'd go home and have a nap and a cookie. Like that was just, that's it.
Yeah.
The social media aspect, holy
Come
cats, is
on.
that a lot, right?
Come on.
It is. You're just sitting there going, what's the right thing? How do you get to audiences? What's the right hashtag? Do you need hashtags?
Yes.
Do we need to put out videos?
Right.
Yes, you do. The answer is, but you won't see me on video. Thank goodness for Canva. Canva has a lovely palette of stuff where you can just have things and things move and you save it and you just plop it on there and it's good to go. But you need a strategy.
Yes.
And you need and there are a lot of people out there who are much more creative than me. And I'll go back to my lovely poetry editor, Shelby Lee, who also has amassed a huge following on TikTok. And she gives like a whole course as to how to be successful on TikTok. I do not do the TikTok, but I encourage others who are interested in the TikTok to please proceed. And again, Shelby Lee, and it's SHELBY and then LEIGH.
Okay.
Last name. And she's got great stuff out there. I'm a part of a paid community called the Creatives Content Club.
Okay.
And she has been great in that she provides templates for social media each month.
Wow.
Just great ideas. I mean, she just is she is a plethora of knowledge on this piece. There is a fee, you pay, and it is worth every blessed penny. And then some. I've met so many wonderful poets through there. I've met writers through there. And it's been a lovely experience. So a lot of times, like you'll see some of my social media content and you'll know which ones I created versus ones she's created. Just saying. Yes. So I was learning a lot and I continue to learn. So, but it is, there's no rest for the weary. Nope. Not even an ounce.
Yes.
So if you really want to do self-publishing, traditional publishing, you better be prepared to put yourself out there, to come up with a plan, like 1 month before release, 2 weeks before release, 1 week, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, boom. Book cover reveals. People are very much into book cover reveals, which is awesome. And also terrifying because it's like, what if they don't like what they see? So there's just so much that unhinges on that social media aspect. There's also something to be said marketing wise about feet on the pavement and going to different bookstores and introducing yourself. And again, my first experience with introducing myself to a bookstore, I was like, I have a book, and they're like, that's cute. Just because you have a book is going to go on this bookshelf. And I thought, well, no, I know that, but you will read my book. And they said, we'll read your book. And then they came back and said, thank you, but no thank you. And I said, okay, I'm done. And that
Mm-hmm.
was like my big, like that to me last year was like my big girl moment. I was like,
Yeah.
that, no, that, no. Now I've learned that, you put things together like, hi, this is me. This is a
Yeah.
little bit about me. I have this book. I would be honored if it's on your bookshelf. Here's
Mm-hmm.
why it should be on your bookshelf.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the audience to which it would appeal.
Yes.
And and also you'd be willing to work with them in different ways.
Yes.
Like that way the burden isn't always on them.
Yes.
That's also one of the reasons why I like Ingram Spark, I think, because they lay it out like they know booksellers,
Yes,
right?
they do.
So they, before you go through the publishing aspect of it, they ask you oodles of questions. And some of
Mm-hmm.
those include how much of a discount are you willing to give? And the
Yes.
answer to that is 55%. Uh,
Yes.
just do that. Like anything below that, they're like, you will never make it onto bookshelves. Sorry, not
Mm-hmm.
sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Are you willing to accept returns in case it doesn't sell? The answer to
Mm-hmm.
that also is yes. If you are
Mm-hmm.
not, it's most likely that your book won't reach
Certain
bookshelves
markets.
in
Yeah.
bookstores. Yes.
Yeah.
Um, and then, there's also tons of things out there where they talk about, um, you know, what what genre to put it in, or what topic do you put it under?
Yeah. Yeah.
What category? I was looking for the word. What category you put it under?
Mm-hmm.
And Ingram Spark also offers, again, paid service where they will take your book and review it, and they'll look at your, what you wrote as your marketing copy and
Mm-hmm.
things like that, and they'll
Mm-hmm.
say you might want to try this, or you have them in these categories, and that's great, but you may also want to consider these
Consider.
other categories, right?
Mm-hmm.
And again, as a self-published author who's just starting out in this, I mean, this is year 2 for me. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm
Right.
just happy, hey, you want to buy a book? This is
That's
awesome.
right. I wrote a book. Here it is. Right.
And that's it, right? And you're like, oh, this could be better?
Yeah.
Sure, hit me with it. Whatever
Yeah.
you want to do. Yeah.
Yeah. And all of that explains why, like, sometimes all of a sudden a book all of a sudden pops. Nobody
Yes.
knows that you've been building for the past 4 or 5 years. You've been
Right.
learning, you've been tweaking,
Yes.
you've been,
Mhm.
changing your categories, your keywords, your tags,
Correct.
all of those things that you need so
Yes.
that you're building your optimal search engine
Mhm.
optimization. All
Mhm.
of that you
All of
and
it.
learn. It's
Mhm.
learning, learning, learning.
So much learning. You do,
Mhm.
you learn and you continue to learn and you grow.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's been so much that I've learned from this.
Yeah.
And the other thing that I would say too is that for people that are aspiring writers, if they go to the point of self-publishing or publishing, huzzah, great for you. Um, Sometimes it's not an immediate hit.
Yeah.
Sometimes the message hits. There's a weird element with timing. I really thought that My Stay with the Sisters had um, a season,
Mhm.
and it turned out, or even a reason. It was either a reason or a season.
Mhm.
And what I found this year is that people are starting to hear it more and get more
Yeah.
connected. So there's more to it,
Yeah.
and it has a little more longevity in it.
Mhm.
So
Mm.
don't be discouraged. Like,
That's right.
don't be discouraged. Like, sometimes it takes a while sometimes for your audience to find you, and
Yes.
that's okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's such a good message. I really hope people hear that and write that down, that it takes a while for your audience
It
to
it
find you.
does. And if it doesn't, huzzah, like, keep going. Like,
That's right.
get that marketing, like, keep going. You talk about, like, this, this was great. This person said this. Also, social media tip, go to either Amazon or Barnes and Noble or wherever you have the thing published, and pick out the positive reviews and repost
Mhm.
them on social media.
Mm.
Yep.
Good
Make sure
strategy.
people know, because people, a lot of times people go by, they often search by average customer
Yes.
rating, right?
Yes.
And if you can continue to drive home that audience, and people have, for the people that spend the time to write these lovely words, you want to
Mhm.
share them and just say thank you.
Yeah.
It was so kind
Yeah.
of you.
Yeah.
And I love it. I think it's great. I've had some lovely ones. I just had one recently for A Place No Flowers Go, and the person said, I'm not really into poetry, but I really like this one. And I thought, I love this. I'm
That's right.
all over the place. So yeah, it's fantastic.
That's
It's
fantastic. So, for
yes.
all of you who are running out to go buy her books and create these wonderful stocking stuffer and just gift, even for yourself, as I mentioned, all the links to her books are in the chat room. The My Stay with the Sisters book of poetry right now is on sale on Amazon at $5.15. I encourage you run and get it. The other books are there as well. And please, please, please make sure you rate it and write a review as well. Now I'm gonna be biased and say only write positive reviews. If you ain't got nothing positive to say, don't say it at all. I said it, she didn't. So look, please, because as an independent author, it does make a difference to have those ratings and it helps within the algorithm. So so good, so good. Well, I cannot believe we are almost at the top of the hour.
Thank you.
The Oh, you're welcome. Thank you. So many important pieces of information. One other piece that I want to highlight before I ask you this final question is that you mentioned when working with bookstores, as well as other stores, because you'd be surprised that there are other commercial opportunities that may hold and sell books. So
Yes.
I've had like smoothie shops say to me, I want to have books in my store. I'd be interested in buying your book. So don't count anything out. You can
Right.
ask any
Yep.
place that you frequent and say, have you
Yes.
considered having some books? And you mentioned doing them on consignment. So if some people are wondering what that means,
Mhm.
it means that they hold the book, they take a percentage, you take a percentage. Sometimes it's 70-30, where you get 70%, they get 30%,
Mhm.
because it is shelf space in their
Yes.
store and
Yes.
it is advertising. Sometimes it's
Mm.
60-40. So it just, everybody has a different percentage rate, but
Yes.
it's a great opportunity again for branding purposes
Yes.
and to get your name and your work out there in the public eye. And you never know who's going to see it
Right.
and or read it, and then what may come from that.
Right.
Girl, anything else coming to mind as I'm saying this?
No, I think you hit every like the nail on the head, and especially that I know Lydia, as a matter of fact, she went to a shop at Plymouth Meeting Mall, I think, where littles have their hair cut, and
Yes.
she sold books there.
Yeah.
And it's such a unique. It was like I would have never put that together.
Yeah. Uh-oh, she's frozen for a moment, but she's absolutely right. You can think like if you have children's books or poetry or things that are you
Yes,
have salons, you have barbershops, you have all type cookie cut.
barbershops.
Lydia said
Barbershops
cookie
are really
cutters.
yes, cookie cutters. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Lydia. I could not think of the name.
Yeah.
There's also I know I'm promoting a little bit for Lydia, but I'm going to go and
Well, she's
follow suit
wonderful. Go
shortly.
for it.
She is. She's great. There's also zoos. If you have a book with
Yes,
animals in it, like go see what their souvenir shops are lacking
that's right.
because they might be lacking your book.
That's right.
Um, there's stuff like that. I- don't shut your eyes to possibilities because you
Yes.
never know where they are.
Yes.
It's very cool.
All
Yes.
right. So now you mentioned this Saturday between 2 and 4. I encourage people to get there closer to the 2 o'clock time. You will
Mhm.
be at Barnes and Nobles in the Montgomeryville
Somerville. Mhm.
section. What else do you have coming up before this year? Well, not even before the year ends. What else do you have coming up that people need to know about?
So, and of course it dropped on the ground, so I'm gonna just put
Go
my
for
camera
it.
up so you don't
Okay.
actually, you know what? You're gonna see it anyway, it's fine, I'll go
Okay.
ahead, but that's
While you're getting that, I'll put up
yes.
Lydia put Cheryl, your
Mhm.
book would be great for grief therapists to recommend and maybe have on hand.
That is
So
a good
good.
idea. I'm just gonna
Yeah.
hire Lydia, I
I'm
think.
saying, but
Yes. So my husband loved the concept of Mendenhall and a place no flowers grow. He said it would make a great graphic novel. So, um, I reached out to somebody that does, actually heavy metal artists,
yes,
heavy metal CDs and stuff. He
yeah,
created the cover photo,
that's
the cover
incredible.
work for it, and he's gonna create all the artwork, so that's coming out in, September of 2025.
Congratulations. How
Thank you.
wonderful. Way to go, husband.
Go ahead. I'm
Oh, no,
sorry.
I was saying way to go, husband, for bringing
Yeah,
that
yeah, he
idea
was
to your
great. He was
mind.
like, "Just try 'em," and this was again, imposter syndrome kinda came up and
Mhm.
bit me, and I was like, "Alright, fine, I'll just go ask," and he was so kind. He's out in the Netherlands, and he was like, "Yes,
Wow,
hello, I'm happy to do this," and we worked out a deal, and it's been great, and
cool.
September 2025, that's when it's coming, but,
Okay,
yeah, I always have stories in my head, so Lord knows what's gonna happen next year, but,
okay,
I think it's gonna be a year of writing, really, so,
okay.
yes.
And so for people to stay, what's the best way for people to connect with you, stay abreast of what's coming up? How do you want them to do that?
Sure. I am very much on Instagram all the time,
Okay.
and that's that handle is CHERYLC dot WRITER. So Cheryl C. dot writer
All right.
on Instagram. I also have a website. It's CherylCantafio.com. I'm still working on it. This is the part where I got brave and I knew I needed a website. Aspiring authors, please get yourself a website. And
Mhm.
I use a tool called Wix. I'm still working through some stuff. So you'll see there. I've got a blog. I haven't updated in a while. I owe that, but I'm going to do a year in review and stuff like that. So
Okay.
more to come on that. Please sign up for the newsletter. I do send those out. I'm trying. I'm trying is what I'm trying to do, and I will get better at that. I have to get a calendar together for this stuff. But I would say Instagram, you can reach out to
Okay.
me anytime, and I am all over it all the time. Ask my husband.
Fantastic.
Yes.
All right. So I have placed her Instagram handle in the chat room. Again, you can go there. And what I'll do, I may have already done it, is
Okay.
put in the write up on the YouTube side at Ask Dr. Walls 525 underneath this video. I believe I have your website. I'm going to
Okay.
double check to make sure I have your Instagram as well. So then
Wonderful.
that way people can just go ahead and
Mhm.
click that.
Wonderful.
Yeah, but please be sure to support our local, all of our independent authors. It's so important. It is encouraging. You never know when you may want to be an author. And I think it's important that you treat people like you want to be treated, right? You want to
Yes.
be supported. So therefore, we support. So we are so excited to support you in all that you are creating. We wish you continued success in all that you do and a very prosperous 2025. And I say this for all my authors. And Lydia, thank you for all that you have done for us and for others because we know it's been tremendous. Um, but yeah, I'm super excited to see what you come up with. And I just love the fact that you have right now 3 different areas. So who knows, next year you may be coming back telling me how you've done werewolves and fantasy romance. We don't know what you're going to come
It's
up with.
anything is possible.
That's right.
Oh my goodness. Dr. Kathleen, thank you
Yes.
so much for this opportunity.
Oh,
Thank you
you're
for
welcome.
creating a space for an authentic conversation because this has really truly been lovely and I appreciate
Good.
it.
Good. You are welcome. Well,
Subscribe to Dr. Kathleen, would you?
thank you.
You're
Yes,
welcome.
please, please.
Yes.
Yes, come on over here to Ask Dr. Walls 525. I have several more before the holiday hits. I have several more authors. Friday, I have one. I don't even know my calendar. I have so many. I have one Friday. I have one next Monday. I have one next, I think, Tuesday and Thursday. So be sure to subscribe, hit that notification bell so you know when it's coming on. I had to hit my own notification bell so I know when I'm coming on. So all right, but until we meet again, everyone, have a wonderful night. Again, Cheryl, thank you so much for sharing your journey with us and for writing as you do. And as always, everyone, continue to live your greatest life and God bless. Good night, everyone.
Thank you. Take care.
You're
Bye.
welcome. Bye.